Good afternoon everybody. Today I am going to take the next topic of task synchronization, that is task communication in RTOS and IDE for embedded system design. Today's topic is about task communication in shared memory. This is the fifth module of RTOS and IDE for embedded system design of VTU CSIS students. I am going to explain about the shared memory with respect to task communication. What is this shared memory? You can see client and server, it is sharing the common memory called shared memory in the diagram. This is a client, this is a server, the middle part is shared memory. It is sharing the common memory, that is why it is called as shared memory. You are having input queue, you are having output queue. This is the diagram. This diagram represents client server with the common shared memory. What is this shared memory? This shared memory is a region of memory, space of memory, a region, REGION. It is a region of memory that is shared by a cooperating processes is established. Process can then exchange information by reading and writing data to the shared region. What is a shared memory? It is a region of memory that is shared by cooperating processes is established. Processes can then exchange information by reading and writing data to the shared region. Shared memory allows maximum speed and convenience of communication. As it can be done at memory speeds when within a computer, shared memory is faster than another technique called as message passing. Compared to message passing, shared memory is faster. Message passing systems are typically implemented using system calls and thus require the more time consuming task of kernel intervention. That is, in contrast, shared memory systems, system calls are required only to establish shared memory regions. Particular regions you are going to make use of system calls. Once shared memory is established by using a system calls, all accesses are treated as routine memory accesses and no assistance from the kernel is required. I will explain once again. In shared memory systems, system calls are required only to establish shared memory regions. Once if connection is established, all accesses are treated as routine memory accesses and no assistance is required. Here the figure represents client server with a shared memory. What is the advantage of going for the shared memory? Good for sharing large amount of data. The advantage is it is good for sharing large amount of data and it is very fast in accessing. So, two advantages of using a shared memory is good for sharing large amount of data and very fast. What are the disadvantages of shared memory? No synchronization is provided. Application must create their own. That is one of the disadvantages, synchronization problem. And alternative to shared memory is a map system call which maps file to the address space of the caller. This is also a kind of sharing using a system call. So, these are the two limitations. What are the limitations? Synchronization problem in the shared memory and alternative method of sharing the memory is using the system calls, memory map system calls. That is one way mapping the file into the address space of the caller. Next one is pipes. Under the shared memory, one type is called as pipes. What is a pipe? A pipe is a unidirectional first in first out unstructured data stream of fixed maximum size. It enters into the process enters into the pipe and writing for a process, and then it takes out as a process B for reading the data. So, once if read the data is removed from the pipe, removed from the pipe and is unavailable to the other readers, a pipe provides a simple flow control mechanism. It provides simple flow control of mechanism. That is, if you are considering a pipe, a process is attempting to read from the empty pipe blocks until more data is written the pipe. Process is trying to write to full pipe lock until another process reads the data from pipe. Each pipe can have several readers and writers. In one pipe there are many more readers and many more writers. A give process may be reader or a writer or both. That is, it can be reader process or writer process, or it can be both to read and write. Pipes means generally of two types. One is anonymous pipe and named pipe. There are two types of pipes for communication. One pipe is called as, first type of pipe is called as anonymous pipe, and the second type is called as unnamed pipe. What is this anonymous pipes? These are unnamed unidirectional pipes used for data transfer between two processes. These are unidirectional pipes used for data transfer between two processes. Named pipe is unidirectional or bidirectional pipe for data exchange between the processes. These are the two types of pipes. Next is memory mapped objects. This is about the pipe, a brief explanation on pipe. Next topic is memory mapped objects. What is this memory mapped objects? Memory mapped I/O input output uses the same address space to address both memory and I/O devices. It uses a common address space to address both memory and I/O devices. A mapping object is created and physical storage for it is reserved and committed. A process can map the entire committed physical area or a block of its virtual address space. All read or write operation to this virtual address space by a process is directed to the committed physical area. That is, read and write operation to this virtual address space by a process is directed to its committed process physical area. Windows embedded compacts, that is real-time operating systems, memory mapped object based shared memory techniques for inter-process communication. This is one way of communication technique. What are the task communication? One is a shared memory. You are having a client, you are having a server. It is sharing the common shared memory by using a kernel layer. You have input layer, input file and output file. And second one is pipe. Pipes are used for reading the data and writing the data as a communication channel. Third one is memory mapped objects, mapping the memory with respect to objects and sharing the common same address space to address both memory function and I/O devices. This is one of the method called as memory mapped objects. Next type is called as, the first one is shared memory. Under that pipe is one method and memory mapped objects is second method. The second type of task communication is message passing scheme. What is this message passing scheme? Message passing scheme is two processes communicate with each other by passing messages. Two processes communicate with each other by passing messages. Message passing is direct and indirect communication. Message passing is direct communication and indirect communication. Indirect communication, it uses a mailbox for sending receiving messages from other process. Most of the students and users, they will use the mailbox, email for communicating between the different persons. So, indirect communication you can give example as mailbox. Message passing system requires the synchronization and communication between the two processes. So, for message passing system you require a synchronization and communication. Message passing used as a method of communication in microkernels. It is mainly used in the microkernel as a method of communication. So, message passing systems come in many forms. It comes in many forms. Messages sent by a process can be either fixed or variable size. So, message sending from a process either a fixed message or it can be variable size. The actual function of message passing is normally provided in the form of a pair of primitives. What are the primitives? Send and receive. So, message passing mechanism is done by using the two primitives. One is called as send primitive, the other one is called as receive primitive. What is this send? Send consists of destination name where it has to send and the message what it has to send. Send consists of destination name or IP address. So, where it has to send the data and what message has to be sent, that is by the sending side. Receiving side, from where it is sending the data, that is source name and message. At the receiving side it will consist of a source name from where data is coming and it consists of message. What message is coming, the content will be there. So, two primitives are send and receive. Send primitive is used for sending a message to destination. Process sends information in the form of message to another process designated by a destination. A process receives information by executing the receive primitive. What is that receive primitive consists of? Which indicates the source of the sending process and the message. Source of the sending process and the message. This is about the message passing scheme. What are the features of message passing? The features of message passing is simplicity, uniform semantics, local communication, remote communication, security and portability. What are the features of message passing? Simplicity, uniform semantics, local communication, remote communication, efficiency, security and portability. Simplicity means message passing system should be simple and easy to use. Simplicity means passing methodology should be simple and it has to be easy for a common user. It is possible to communicate with old and new applications also. Uniform semantics means message passing is used only for two types of inter-process communication, local communication and remote communication. What are the two types of communication? One is a local communication, communicating processes are on the same node. Remote communication means your communicating processes are on the different node. What is meant by local communication of uniform semantics? Communicating processes are on the same node. What are remote communication? Communicating processes are on the different nodes. Efficiency. Inter-process communications become so expensive. Message passing system is not effective. Users try avoiding the IPC for their applications. So, message passing system will become more efficient if we try to avoid more message exchanges during communication processes. So, it is more efficient than any other techniques. Security is the main issue of features of message passing. Message passing system must provide a secure end-to-end communication. Whatever the data we are sending from the sender side to the receiver side, security is one of the essential parameter. So, the last parameter to be considered for the message passing scheme is the portability. Message passing system should be portable. And features of message passing. What are the features of message passing? Simplicity, uniform semantics, local communication, remote communication, simplicity, uniform semantics, efficiency, security and portability. So, that is uniform semantics means what? Message passing for two types of inter-process communication. One is local communication, the other one is remote communication. These are the two methods. And efficiency, security and portability. These are the features of message passing scheme. The last point is message queue. What is this message queue? Message queue in the message passing scheme. What is this message queue in the message passing scheme? It is a task sending a multiple first in first out or priority messages into queue for use by another task using a queue message as an input. Some methodology has to be used. It has to be arranged in the queue, first in first out order, or priority messages into a queue for use by another task using a queue message as an input. Second one is a message queue is a linked list of messages stored within the kernel and identified by message queue identifier. Which method has to be, which message has to be transmitted in which order? It is arranged in the form of a linked list. Third point is processes read and write messages to arbitrary message queues. A message queue is a header pointing to a linked list of messages. It is also kind of linked list. So, read and write messages to the arbitrary messages arbitrary in the queue. And to facilitate inter-task data communication, kernels provide a message queue object and message queue management services. To facilitate inter-task data communication, kernels provide a message queue object and message queue management services. This message queue is a buffer-like object, temporary storing buffer-like object, through which task and ISA sends receives messages to communicate and synchronize with data. That means it decouples a sending and receiving task. It is frees task from having it to send and receive messages simultaneously. When a message queue is first created, it is assigned an associated queue control block. When a message queue is first time created, it will be created along with a block, just like a PB, it will be created QCB. What is this QCB? Queue control block. That means it consists of information of a queue name, unique ID name, memory buffers, length of the queue, maximum message length and one or more task waiting list. These are the information which consists of a queue control block, QCB. A message queue name, unique ID, memory buffers, queue length, maximum message length and one or more task waiting list. Typical message queue operations include following. What are the typical operations? Creating and deleting message queues, sending and receiving messages, obtaining messages, queue information. These are the operations of the message. What are the message operations of the message queue? Creating and deleting a message queues, sending and receiving messages and obtaining message queue information. Two associated task waiting list. What are the two associated tasks? Receiving task waiting list contains tasks that wait on the queue when it is empty. What is a receiving task waiting list? Means it contains it contains what are the tasks that wait on the queue when it is full, waiting queue. Receiving means containing tasks that wait in the queue when it is empty, and sending task waiting list means contents of the task that wait on the queue when it is full. Waiting list means when it is waiting, Receiving task waiting list means tasks that wait on the queue when it is empty. These are the 2 points you have to remember for task waiting list. So, most of the autos require that the queue is initialized before we are going to use. It may be responsibility to pre-allocate the user responsibility to pre-allocate the memory and that the queue has to use. These are the certain points you have to remember for the task communication. Task communication, one of the principal technique it is going to use is shared memory. The advantages of shared memory is it is good for benefiting for sharing large amount of data, and it is fast in accessing shared data, but it is having certain disadvantages. Synchronization is required for accessing the shared data, and there is one more alternative method you can use it by using a system called mmap. That is one of the alternate method of which maps the file into the address space of the caller. These are certain limitations of the shared memory. The another method of task communication is pipe. Pipe, you have a process A for reading the data and writing the data, process B. Like this, pipes are, there are two types of pipes, anonymous pipe and named pipe. What is mean by anonymous pipe? These are not named, unidirectional, used for data transfer between the two processes. Named pipe means what? It is unidirectional or it can be either bidirectional for data exchange between the processes. This is called named pipe. Another method is memory mapped objects. So, in memory mapped objects, read and write operations to the virtual address space by a process is directed to its physical area. Memory mapped I/O uses the same address space to address both memory and the I/O device. One more methodology is message passing scheme. Message passing scheme, sending the message, you have destination name and message where from the sender. At the receiver, you have source name from where it is coming and consists of the message. So, what are the features of message passing scheme? Simplicity, uniform semantics, that is local communication and remote communication, efficiency and security, portability. The last methodology of task communication is message queues. These are certain techniques. Thank you for listening. In the next class, I will explain about the mailbox function. Thank you.